Why do Christian music ministers charge or give you an invoice before they come to your church to minister? Hi, guys.
Hello.
Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. Today,
Welcome.
I have a special guest here. Are you guys ready to meet him?
The camera is on me, so they can see me already.
That's true. Okay, I have L.A.
Yeah.
Laolu
Thank
in
you.
the building.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
It's been a while that I've had like a guest on my channel, and I want to bring back this interviewing thing on my channel. And I'm actually nursing the idea of a podcast. You guys, does podcasting fit me? Look at this setup.
Yes, sir. Podcast. Our channel needs to grow.
Yeah.
We metamorphose.
Yes.
Into full podcastry.
Okay. So today we are talking about music and ministry. We're talking about everything Nigerian Christian music industry.
Yeah.
And I have an insider. He's inside them. He's a music minister.
Yes.
And he's a producer.
Yeah.
Yes. And so he's going to be telling us everything music. We're going to be talking about, everything. Now, what is propelling this video? Let me tell you guys. So there was a time that they were dragging Mercy Chinwo for charging people, right? I don't know if you guys are familiar. They were dragging her for charging people. I think it was like a reverend father. He said that he was dragging Mercy Chinwo for charging people 1 million to come to their church. And I was in the car having this conversation with Laolu and some other people, like my friends. And I was like, I don't understand. Like, why will you be giving people invoice before you come and serve? Like, I had a different mentality about it. And because he's in the industry, the Nigerian Christian music industry, he's like, yeah, we have to talk about it. Like, there are two sides to it. And I said, okay, we're going to do like a proper video. Okay. But before we even dive into like all of that, you are a music minister. Yes, I believe that.
Yes.
So can you tell me what inspires you? What is your motivating factor? Like, what keeps you going as a music minister?
Okay, I wouldn't try to sound churchy. I love music first, I love music. Music has been my life, growing up. It's where, I find expression. Music is just what makes me happy. On its own, you get. So because I love Jesus, you get. So that's why I do music for Jesus. And, so the kingdom, moving the kingdom forward, adding to the kingdom has just been, anything we can do with music to, propagate God's kingdom. Yeah.
What would you say would single you out? If you like, let's say there are like music ministers watching us. Someone like Dunsi Oyenko, Nathan Obasi, those people, they are different. Victoria Renze. What would you say makes you different as a Christian music minister?
Have your message, have your unique message. It's just like every book in the Bible. There's just a unique theme around each book of the Bible. You think about Songs of Solomon, there's a theme around it. You think about the book of Psalms, the letters of Paul. Each of them, the letters to the Corinthians is different from the letters to the Ephesians. All of those things, they have each book with its own theme. So I believe every music minister should have his own message that God has given them, and then it makes it just becomes natural to your music that it just flows. It becomes what you preach, your experiences with God, what God teaches you, what God puts in your heart to sing. It becomes.
That's a very valid point. The message that God gives you, but you can't have a message if you don't have like a private, personal relationship with God,
absolutely.
A prayer life. You know, like many, I've noticed. I don't know, maybe it just looks like I always have this bias against music ministers, but like I've noticed how many music ministers just depend on their talents and gifts. Your talent is great, but if it's not backed up with the Holy Spirit, because this one is ministry, it's not like simi singing or Tiwa Savage. This one is ministry.
Okay, you're allowed to call names on here.
No, like I'm just speaking generally. Like you know, they are
Okay.
not. What I mean is like it's not like secular.
Yes.
That's why I said
Sure.
Simiti
Aye.
Savage.
No
Not like
problem.
I'm dragging them. I'm just saying that, like when it comes to like singing for gospel, if you want to do gospel,
Yeah.
you have to have that relationship with God, and you have to let God give you that.
Sure. It's
That
ministry at the
personal-
end of the day, you know. It's ministry and it's sacred. It's ministry, you know, in all sense of it. So there's the essential need for a prayer life because I don't know how every believer who wants to do things for God, you know, prayer is where we get our inspiration. When we pray, you can't pray long enough and God won't, you know, reveal things to you or direct you to a particular thing or direct or give you insights on some things. It's just from prayer, you know, studying and all those things.
I like how you said that every believer.
Yeah.
So whether you're a music minister, a
Yes.
pastor, all of us need to study our Bible. All of
Yes,
us need
sir.
to pray. Now that you spoke about ministry, let's go into the elephant in the room. It's good that you said it is a ministry.
Yes.
Ministry.
Ministry.
So Laolu, why do Christian music ministers ministry? They are ministry. Why do Christian music ministers charge or give you an invoice before they come to your church to minister? Can you tell us, please? We want to know.
The matter long. The matter long. Ew, well,
Start from the beginning. Beninging.
from the beginning now. So I wouldn't.
Are you for or against?
Don't ask me like that. Don't implicate me.
Okay. Why
Don't
did
ask
they
me
charge?
like that.
Why
Don't ask
did
me
they
like
charge?
that. Let me just come from an angle,
Okay.
and then we'll look at it
Okay. All right.
on different sides. You get?
Okay.
So, I know over the years it wasn't like what it is now. You get some of us we grew up knowing that we didn't even know people were charging money for like gospel ministers would charge money to go and minister in churches. I don't know. I got born again around 2010, 2011. You know, but before then I didn't know what was really happening in church. And even then, you know, while growing in church, serving in church, choir, all those things. Some churches that we'll see that are inviting, you know, some popular artists. We really didn't know that they were
Paying them.
It was as we, you know, as we continued in the ministry, growing in the ministry, and that's that.
People are cashing out.
People have been collecting money since
Okay.
we knew Jesus. Before we knew Jesus, like since you know, and I think later on I began to understand things like this, and it's now I'm remembering some experiences I've had because let me share some. So back then, around 2011, 2012, thereabouts, I used to be in this rap group. You should know Toby Tess.
Yeah.
You should know Wisely for Wisdom. So we're in this group we called ourselves Kingdom Shakers. We used to rap, we used to sing. So then we were just, you know, fresh, young for Jesus like that. And then we'll go out, go to churches, you know, be seeking. Bro, Wisdom was the oldest among us then. So he usually goes out to churches, having praise nights, you know, begs for slots that we come and perform. We just go. We have one beat that we used to play. We sing on it. We rap. You know. Until one day, one church gave us money, and that was like my first time of seeing, you know, of seeing that. They could actually pay us for this. We thought everybody just gets the slots, you know, to just go and minister somewhere, and then. How much was it? I think it was 2005. And we gave us. And then we were on our way back home. The money was with the eldest of us. And I think we got to our bus stop and I was like, like, share the money. Let's share the money. Oh my God. Then I was young. In fact, I couldn't even speak in tongues then. But I was just a young believer, you know, burning for Jesus. I just really wanted to know more. So, and then it was like, I should calm down. I should do this. Like, why am I such in a hurry? And I was like, what are we waiting for? Let's just share this thing that be going. So, after that, so he just told me like I should calm down, and then it almost became an issue among the three of us. And then I got scared for myself later on, like will I be this conscious of money? Like for the first time, we're gifted something at the church, you know, and then I now became conscious of of money and being so careful not to let money be my inspiration for doing things, and that was that. So in our church back then, I was privileged to join some people to minister. Pastor Shegun, Festus. I'll follow him to go and back up at some churches you get, and then some churches will now honor him. You get, and then you now bless us too that followed him with something, and then I was no. You now explain that what was that grammar? I'm trying to remember some of the phrases he used. Like the husbandman will be the first partaker of the fruits and all those things you get. So it's honor, it's reward. So it's not like it's any thing there. You can't actually pay for how do I call it now? For ministry, you can. There's no amount of money.
You can't put money on it.
Yeah, that would really say, okay, this is the value of it. So there's no monetary value. For it. It's spiritual. It's of eternal value. It's of spiritual value. You understand? So it's just honor. So that was how he explained it to me then, and then that was beautiful for me to learn, and then I continued. That's the story part of it. So, is it good that some people will now charge and say, until you pay so, we won't show up? So, the angle is this. For music ministers, most of our music ministers here in Nigeria, and they're doing really well. Especially those who have bands, a number of bands. You see them with about 8 to 10 people, some 12. They put in a lot of work into the craft. There's the craft, there's the building of the craft into what it is, into, that ministry, that administration that we see, that we all like. There's a lot that goes into it. There's the rehearsal time. Some of these people, they rent studio rehearsal time. They'll pay for studio sessions, have about 2 rehearsals in a week. They would pay for the logistics of all the band members. Okay, let's even put some price to it. So maybe some of us will understand.
Don't worry.
Okay, they start them. Feeding is another thing. Sometimes out.
So, in other words,
outfits and all those things.
In other words, you are justifying why some of them may want to charge.
It's fair.
It's fair enough that they're charging.
It's fair enough, yes.
But when we look at how the ministry part of it.
Yeah.
So, how do they balance it? Okay, this is ministry, I'm not supposed to charge. And then saying, I feel like, personally, if I go and minister and they give me money, I'm okay. I would collect it. I've done even like as a preacher, teacher. Like I've done ministry that somebody has given, like people have given me money and I accepted.
Yeah.
But while there are some people that will say, "Oh, God has expressly said no," so even if you give them, they'll give you throw it back into the ministry. So that one is there. But like in general terms, I have received like money, but to give you my invoice, like literally. Most of them have managers. Most of the big ones that we know, they have managers. And because they don't want to be the ones to ask you for the money, so they'll say, "Oh, talk to my manager."
Yeah.
The manager is the one that will now give you all the itinerary. I literally heard of a particular music minister that is really popular, who they were going to invite him abroad. He now said that they had to use first class for him. Business class, business class. Then he said he had to be chauffeur driven when he's abroad. Abroad. Do you know what that means? That person had to be a wealthy person for the person to be able to take care of that need. Although the person was a very wealthy person. Because I know the person. So, but the person that was like on the panel or something, or like the committee was one that was telling us the gist. So it wasn't like hearsay. The person knew about it. The person was like, can you imagine? He was asking for this, he was asking for this. And I was like, what? I think that was my first exposure to realizing that I knew that people usually collected money as per honorarium. That's what I knew. I knew that as someone that has been in like youth church, we invited people that were not even popular. You surely give honorarium.
Of course.
But to now hear that artists were asking before they come, that one shocked me. I'm never going to lie. I was like, that sounds very, very weird. So I see you saying that, okay, these people have a lot on their plate. They have their backup singers. They have to feed them. Yeah. But isn't that the place of things like YouTube, Apple Music? That's the place for things that monetize your craft, like selling of CDs, all those things. I think that's the place for that. But when it comes to, come and minister in our church, I don't know. I don't think it's right for you to give an invoice.
I get. So
please convince me that it is right. Because I had this conversation on my Instagram, like I was dragging them, okay? And my followers were like, oh, you have to see that even the church, another conversation is that the church is not, some people, they will go for ministration and they will give them shishi. Has that ever happened to you? Let's talk about that. Where you had to enter under rain, sun.
Can I share a story?
Yes.
I'll try to be quick. So there was this, I think I was still a student back in school. So there was this man who invited me to his church. You know, it was going to be all night, And in fact, I sent my picture. My name was on the flyer. And then it was going to be the day of the event. I don't charge, actually. Let me just put that out. I don't charge. But what I can do is...
He doesn't charge.
I try to know what the event is about.
Okay.
So if it's something that I think I need to come with a number of people, I'll let you know that I'm coming with a number of people. So please, you should understand. You get. So I went with 3 other guys, a keyboardist, a bassist, and a drummer. And then we went out that night. In fact, we left the school around 9 p.m. So we were supposed to start for 11. I remember the place which was at Akute. I don't want to mention the name of church. It was very far. It was very far. And would you believe throughout that day or before then, this man who invited me didn't call me to at least confirm if I was still coming. So we set out, we were on our way, and then it was getting really dark, or it was getting really quiet around that beggar, I think. We got there late. There was traffic before we got there. So we were like maybe to 12 or something on the road that night. And I started calling this man, and he didn't pick up the call. I kept on calling. He didn't pick up the call. So somehow we found our way to Akute. So we now later found out it was an estate, and then we couldn't go in. We were outside that night. Now, this was around maybe to 1. We kept on calling. They didn't pick up. And then somehow we found out there was another gate into that estate. So we walked that midnight, the 4 of us. Then we eventually located the church. And then we got there. Then the man saw me. I was like, we didn't know you.
He forgot about you.
I don't even know. He said, they're sorry. So. I was like, it's fine. So we went in. The program continued. The administration was even powerful. Like it was, because I don't know. Sometimes when we're in this mood, we don't let all these things try to get into our head. We just try to be, in a good state of mind, at least for the sake of the administration. You get. It was a great night. We had a great time. And then we were about leaving.
And they said, thank you for coming.
They gave us 1.5. They gave us 1.5. And I was like, wow. I just told them thank you, and then we left. So it was
1.5? What year was this?
2017.
1,500.
Yeah, this was 2017.
So 3 of you should share for 500.
I don't. We're 4.
4? That's
money to
terrible.
get there safe. It was all my money. It was all my
Like,
money. I had to pay.
I think it would have been better if they didn't give you at all. 1.5.
For real. For real.
Wow.
So you should understand why some artists will say until you get, especially when they don't know the church. You know, when they don't know, so well about the church and how they treat people in that church, so they insist on, on getting something
So
first.
usually
before.
people do that when they don't know the church.
Most times.
Because if you already know, like maybe like the experience now, you already know the experience.
House on the Rock cannot call you and be
go
saying,
every time.
yeah.
So at that point, they'll just say, Message you, are you coming? Yes.
I can't say, they know that they will do you well.
So,
Yeah. So it was.
I like that
It was
angle
a
that
tough
you just
night.
put into it.
It was a tough night. So
Wow.
there's been days like that,
They not give you 1.5.
For real now. They did.
1.5?
They did.
Wow.
Yes,
That's
They did.
wild.
And it was. I didn't even take it as hard so much, but I just felt, come on.
How
I
did
was
the
a
guys
student
feel?
now,
How did the people
and
you
I had
brought?
to.
How did they feel?
I had to pay their transportation back, and I told them that there wasn't much. They are cool. They were my friends too, so.
Oh, okay.
So
Wow.
they understood. They're my friends. Yeah.
So how are we concluding this particular talk?
So it depends on the minister itself. You get to decide, on which path they're choosing. Some still won't. I learned of Pastor Nath and Minister Dunsi that they don't
charge people.
They don't charge, and it's true. I remember. Can I share a short story too? Hope my stories are not too much.
Hold on.
Okay.